Hey, we got a fast and dirty fire mage guide here for you. Someone in my guild been bullying me to do this, so I figured I'd get off my lazy ass and do it. Uh, Covenant-wise, you're gonna want to be Night Fae. The other ones are fine. Night Fae is like really, really good with fire. If you're planning on playing fire, you should be Night Fae. Uh, Talent. This is your main. You can just run this build for anything PvE-wise. Like this is fine. The only change you would ever make is you can go conflagration for pure single target. But this is literally like 0.5% of your damage on a 5-minute boss fight. It's like if you don't feel like switching over or using the tome, it doesn't matter. You can just run this 100% of the time, and you're gonna be good. Stat-wise, it's gonna depend on your gear level and where your stats are at. I honestly just sim yourself, but if you want just something to go with, you can't go wrong with crit and haste. Just go crit and haste, you're good. Your best legendary is going to be the Pyretic Incantation. Where's that from? I can't even remember. Oh, favorite incantation. Each consecutive critical strike you deal increases the critical strike damage you deal by 3% up to 50%. It's just a passive buff. You don't have to worry about it at all. It just gives you more damage. It's the best one. This comes off, I think, one of the world bosses. Which one? Yeah, this bitch right here. Gives you that. If you don't want to wait around for that, Firestorm is second best. It's still pretty good. It's like almost even with Fevered Incantation on single target, and it pulls ahead and multi-target, but it's a proc. It's harder to play than Fevered Incantation. I would just say get Fevered Incantation if you want to play the Brain Dead. Conduits then, Soulbind, it's going to depend. If you're going pure single target, Corin with this Wild Hunt Tactics is really good. If the boss is going to be at 75% health, you're going to be, or there's going to be an ad that spawns or whatever that you can hit at 75, maybe like Huntsman or something. If there's going to be a lot of like ads or like Mythic Plus or something, you're going to want to go Naya because this gives you the mastery. Something to talk about I didn't say in stats. Crit and haste is good. You can't go wrong with it. It's always good. Mastery will become better the more targets there are. That's just the way that is Fire Mage. So yeah. Something else I didn't mention about the Dreamweaver Soulbind. I haven't got this yet, so I don't know how good it is. But once we get Renown 34, this could be potentially good. I don't know. I haven't like looked at sims or anything. I just wait till I get it and sim it myself. But Shifting Power puts flowers at your feet. Shifting Power is your Night Fae ability, by the way. For 7.5 seconds, that increase your haste by 12%. Haste is pretty good for this spec. You can hit breakpoints here and there where like you really need a lot of haste, and then all of a sudden once you hit the breakpoint, you don't need it anymore. So I'm not sure, but just something I didn't talk about in the Soulbind thing is once we get this, it might be good. I'm unsure. We'll just have to wait and see. We did conduits. Oh, I didn't actually do the conduits, just Soulbinds. Your best conduit is going to be this thing, Infernal Cascade. While Combust is active, your Fire Blast grants you percent increased fire damage for 5 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. This is just increased fire damage during your Combust, which is where all your damage comes from. I'll show you how to play with this. There's a little bit of gaming that needs to be done with it when we go through the test run. And then the second best is Discipline of the Grove. Shifting Power reduces the mage cooldowns by an additional 6 seconds over 3.3 seconds. This is the generic Covenant Conduit that affects Shifting Power. In case you didn't know, that's why we go Night Fae is the spell right here, Shifting Power. Draw power from the ground beneath you, dealing nature damage. It looks like this. Just deal some area around you. But what it does is it CDR, cooldown reduction, evocates your cooldowns. So that gives you, when you use this you use this after your Combust, you get your Phoenix Flames back, you get your Fire Blast back, and you get like 30, 45 seconds off Combust. And on top of using Kindling, we have like 50-second Combust cooldowns once you get enough gear. It's pretty insane. Now I'll take you through a quick pull on how to play this thing. It's all about your Combust window. Everything you do outside of the Combust doesn't really matter. It's all your damage comes from your Combust window, so you make sure you get it right. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to precast a Fireball or a Pyro Blast, or probably just a precast a Fireball. And Combust can be used while you're casting something, so right before the end of the Fireball cast, you're going to want to press Combust. That's going to give your Fireball the effect of the Combust, which means it's going to guarantee crit, do more damage, and you're going to go straight into a Fire Blast, which is going to give you 1 stack of the Infernal Cascade. You fire off your Pyro Blast and then right into a second Fire Blast to give you your second stack of Infernal Cascade. Then you're gonna go Phoenix Flames Fire Blast or Phoenix Flames Pyroblast. By that time, your Infernal Cascade is gonna be running out. You're gonna use your last Fire Blast, Pyroblast, Phoenix Flames Pyroblast, Phoenix Flames Pyroblast. By that, your combust will be over. At the end of the combust, you drop your second rune and you Shifting Power. You use out that rune, and then you're just waiting until your next combust. So I've talked you through that. I'm gonna go through it now. It's gonna go a bit fast here, but I'll try and talk. So Fireball, combust right at the end. Fire Blast, Pyroblast. Fucked it up. Now I'm going to show you how to do the combust thing. Hopefully don't fuck it up this time. So Fireball, combust right at the end. Fire Blast, Pyroblast, Fire Blast, Pyroblast. You see my Infernal Cascade there. We're going to Phoenix Flames. And then we're going to Fire Blast to refresh the Infernal Cascade. One last time to refresh it. Phoenix Flames at the end. Dump it out. And then you're going to Rune, Blink in, Shifting Power. And then we're just hitting the boss. Pressing Fireball. When we get it heating up, we use Fire Blast to hot streak it. And we're just waiting. You can see my combust is already back at 40 seconds. It's a 2-minute cooldown. It's already back to 35 seconds. That's what makes this spec so insane right now. It's just a low cooldown on combust. We're just fireballing. When we get that, we do that. If you ever cast fireballs and you're not getting heating ups, and you end up capping Fire Blast, you can throw one out or throw two out because you don't want to cap it. But now that combust is coming close, we want to save. I actually blew a few more than I should have. I'm gonna blink out just cause. So we have this. We're gonna Fire Blast, boom, boom. Get the Infernal Cascade to 1, Infernal Cascade to 2. And we're gonna use Phoenix Flames while it ticks down. Refresh Infernal Cascade. Then we're gonna Phoenix Flames out. Then we're gonna Rune of Power, Shifting Power, rinse and repeat. You can't, and something to think about during Shifting Power, you can use Fire Blast and Combust. They both can be used while casting any spell you want. Like I could, in theory, if I could teleport in combat, I could teleport and cast Fire Blast. Like I could Combust during teleport. So, just something to think about. That's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to Kata. Forgot to teach you how to AoE. So you've got this talent here, Flame Patch. Flame Strike leaves behind a patch of flames which burns enemies for fire damage over 8 seconds. So basically you cast Flame Strike on a target. It leaves this little burning patch, they take more damage in it. When it comes to AoE, there's a couple different ways you can do it. Our Ignite does not passively spread now. It's something I did not mention. In single target, it doesn't matter at all. Like it doesn't matter. Phoenix Flames is just used as another Flame Strike or Fire Blast during Combust. But in AoE it does have a use because you can stack a big Ignite on the target and then spread it to different targets with Combust. That's why in an AoE situation you always want to end your Combust with a Phoenix Flames so you can stack the biggest Ignite possible and spread it around. Let me show you how that works real quick. It's the same method as single target. Boom, boom, boom. Phoenix Flames, you can see it spreads the Ignite there, but it's not a big Ignite, so we're going to keep going. Doing all that. Get the biggest bust and then boom. And now you see they're all ticking for 1600 or so. And then of course you would come in and that. So that's how you would do kind of like an Ignite spread off a priority target to less important targets. But if you wanted to AoE everything equally during your Combust, it's a little bit different. And I'll cut to when my Combust is back off cooldown and we'll show you that. Okay, I've got my spells back. I'm going to show you, this is how that last Combust I showed you in an AoE situation would be more for something like there's a big priority target that needs to die and peripheral things around it that aren't as important as much and you're just trying to funnel damage but you still need to cleave. You would just basically do your single target rotation, make sure you spread the big Ignite on the last guy. If you're going for Mega Uber Elites, I want to top it to meters, everything needs to die equally damaged, this is the Combust you would do. You're going to be casting Flame Strikes instead of Pyroblasts, and what that means is, since we're not casting the Pyroblasts to keep fueling our hot streaks, we're dumping it with Flame Strike, we're going to run out of Phoenix Flames and Fire Blast a lot sooner, which means we're actually going to Shifting Power during the Combust. So I'll show you how that works. You still precast the Fireball like usual. You're going to need to make sure you're in melee range for this. Because once you Combust, you're going to drop a rune, and you're going to be standing in that rune while you Shifting Power. So before you do this, you want to make sure you're close enough to mobs that your Shifting Power is going to cleave them. So we're going to Fireball, and then we're going to do this. And then we're going to go boom, boom, boom. Make sure we stack that. We're going to dump all our stuff. then we're gonna Phoenix or Shifting Power, and we're Fire Blasting during the Shifting Power to keep our Infernal Cascade up, and then we're just dumping Flame Strikes like that. And you'll run at the end. You will have a bunch of Phoenix Flames and Fire Blast charges up. After your Combust runs out, you're just gonna throw them out and throw out your Phoenix Flame and hope that they crit. And if one does crit, you can follow up with a Fire Blast to go right into a Flame Strike. You don't want to go Fire Blast in Phoenix Flames because Phoenix Flames isn't always guaranteed to crit unless you're under Combust. And if it doesn't crit, you won't get the heating up. So you want to throw out the Phoenix Flames first, see if one crits, and if they do, you can follow it up with the Fire Blast. So that's the Omega Uber Elite. I'm killing all the things. AoE Combust rotation, whereas the first one I showed you was more of a single target burn with peripheral cleave. It was, if you notice, it's not very much different than actual just single target. Now outside of Combust, at certain amount of targets, I think 3 is. I've had success by just hard casting Flame Strike on 2 targets, but I don't know how good that actually is. I think at 3 and 4 you can probably get pretty good value if they're gonna live long enough for your Flame Patch. If they're not, then you just want to be casting just a regular DPS rotation. But if there's going to be 3 to 4 mobs or plus that are going to live long enough to stand in your flame patch, hard casting Flame Strike is actually a valuable option. Something to keep in mind when doing this though is you aren't getting any value from your kindling talent because you're not critting anything other than the Fire Blast you throw out to get the instant ones to reduce the cooldown in your combustion. So it's something you got to kind of play by ear. If you go to the Flame Strike just nuke build like this and start playing like this, your combust is actually just going to tick down at normal rate, as opposed to getting the CDR that it would get if you were casting, like if you were getting fireball crits from kindling and whatnot. So that's just something to think about. That's how you AoE. GG.